right, welcome to the 5 O'Clock Sweats podcast. I am your host, Chris, joined by fellow host Derick and Ryan. As always, we are your guys, so welcome in. Tonight's episode, this is a near and dear topic. I cannot get this thought out of my head because it affects me on a daily basis, and I've just been swamped at work, and I think you guys can probably relate to this.
Yeah.
But I've been having so much trouble finding time to do any of the things that I like to do. Hobbies, like playing games, watching movies, like even, watching sports, anything. I've been having so much trouble. And I kind of just wanted to talk about that with you guys and see, what your thoughts are. If you have any solutions for me, if the listeners have any solutions for me, because
yes, please. Jeez.
Yeah, I've been working like 10-hour days. Like that's kind of on the conservative side. And I'll tell you what, gaming has become. So here's the thing. I do this thing now where, all right, so I'm like, I finish work, let's say like 8 o'clock at night, right? And then I eat and do whatever I kind of need to do. And I'm exhausted. I'm falling asleep on the couch, but I'm like, you know what? Baby goes to bed, wife goes to bed. I'm like, I have to game. Right. So I've like been forcing myself to stay up, and like the last few nights I've caught myself. I've been playing Diablo and I'm like literally like falling asleep as I'm playing because like it's in my head that like these are things I want to do, and it's like I can't let the day go without like having at least given myself some time to do something I like. Same thing with movies, but we'll kind of get into that. So I was just kind of curious if you guys have experience the unfortunate side of growing up, right? Becoming an adult.
Yeah, it sucks. It really does suck. Yeah. So I mean, you've got a lot more responsibilities than I do.
Way more than
at this stage. At this stage of our lives, I got that traditional 9 to 5, even though my hours are a little different, 7 to 4. But still got that traditional office job. Go in, grind. Come out, I'm mentally and physically exhausted. I'm talking to people all day. But I still, but I feel you. Like I need that time to like do things that make me happy. But I mean, you have a wife and a kid when you go home. I don't. I'm a single man. I come home and I'm left to my devices. Like I can basically do whatever. I can basically do whatever I want. Like once 4 o'clock rolls around and I'm home, I can game till till 1 a.m. if I want. I can watch I can do a Lord of the Rings marathon if I'd like. I could sleep. But what I'm finding is that it's important, especially like post pandemic, to like take care of your mental health. And during the pandemic, like I played a ton of video games. There really wasn't much else to do. Played way too much Apex, to the point where, and how I get when I'm playing games. Like I live and die with these games if I'm really into it, if I'm that passionate about it. So I would hop on for a long Apex ranked session. Those can get pretty intense, and I found that like I was having like the highs were great, but the lows were low, and I was like upset. Like I would carry it, like I wouldn't be able to I wouldn't be able to fall asleep properly. Like it's keeping me up. I'm dreaming about it. I'm waking up the next day like, oh, that rank session last night was awful. And then I had to go to work with that mindset. And it's like, why am I doing this to myself?
Yeah.
So it's like I found it a lot more important now to like take the time after work to unwind. When I'm unwinding, it's either I'm doing, going to the gym, playing disc golf, playing pickleball, which I just started playing recently, which is amazing, by the way. But like physical activity that, I'm working up a sweat and I'm kind of getting that like stress of the day, and I'm exerting it in a physical way that's like both healthy for my mental and also my physical body, as opposed to just sitting down at my desk playing, whatever game I want to play. Because I'm also sitting down all day. Like I'm like from 7 a.m. to 4, I'm sedentary. Besides like walking to my car for lunch, Like I'm sitting
I don't know
or
if
like
that counts.
or using
What
the
an
bathroom.
athlete.
Yeah, true athlete. And I drink a lot of water at work, so I'm walking to and from the to and from to fill up the water and also to use the bathroom and whatnot. So that's about that's where I get my steps. So when I come home and after work, I'm just like I got to do something else that's outside and physical. But that doesn't mean that I don't have those days where I get off work and I'm just like I don't really feel like going to the gym. I don't really feel like doing anything physical. I just want to sit down and just turn my brain off for a little bit and play play my favorite game or just watch or catch up on a TV show or catch a movie that's maybe started streaming recently that I really want to get into. So it's a mix.
I think that's a good point you made about turning your brain off. And I've found that the less time that I have to dedicate towards like winding down or decompressing, I found like I'm drawn towards activities like that. Like even in terms of gaming, like I've been just drawn to like those just kind of like just like clicking away kind of games. Like and like you were talking about Apex and like even Warzone. I used to play a lot of Warzone. Like I've just kind of steered away from like games where I feel like I have to like super sweat. Name of the podcast,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
Try hard. Like I agree with you. Like I just want to decompress. So I think like the busier I get, it sort of shapes some of the hobbies and some of the activities that I do go for. Instead of a movie, I might just put on like a background show, like The Office. You know what I mean? Just something to not really super focus on, but just kind of enjoy, while I'm, whatever, scrolling through my phone or whatnot.
Yeah. I think that's why a lot of people, that's why so many people are like, oh, this is my like 10th time rewatching The Office.
Yeah.
It's because it's like they know that they don't have to like be completely focused. Like they know the episodes, they know the jokes and the storylines and whatnot. But I was going to bring that up is that like I want to play my favorite games, but my favorite games are super sweaty and competitive for the most part. Like sometimes I get lucky and maybe it's the time of the day or whatever, and I'm hopping on like Halo or whatever. Apex is always sweaty. Like there's no avoiding that. But like sometimes during the like certain times of the day, I hop on Halo. Maybe the sessions aren't as bad for like an hour, and then all of a sudden the SBMM kicks in, and then like every match is like do or die, and I feel like I'm against the ropes. But yeah, but I'm also like it's hard to like I've played RPGs. I like story driven games as well, but it's also like they're so big and they're just intimidating. And like I know like I can't I'm not going to finish this game. Like I've started a lot of RPGs and just haven't finished them. Probably the biggest one and like I guess the most recent one was probably Red Dead 2. Like I started that game, never finished it. Finished it.
I remember talking about that. How far did you get in by your estimation?
I think I played the game for about 3 hours, which is probably like a fraction. And I have no excuse. I really don't, because this was a while ago too. This was like when it first came out, like maybe a year after it came out. So I really don't have an excuse. I don't know. I just need I need a game to grab me. And like there's all these good games coming out now, like Jedi Fallen Order or like Starfield's coming out. I really want to play Starfield, but I was watching that 45-minute description, like the thing they showed at the Xbox Game Showcase, and I'm like, this all sounds incredible, but like, how long is it gonna take for you to beat this game? Like, are you ever gonna beat it? And even me, like as I mentioned, like I don't have a lot. Like I've got myself and I've got my job, and then after work, I really don't have much going on. But like I still find it difficult. I'm still gonna find it difficult to like sit down and focus on a game that big. I'm sure you guys can relate.
Yeah, I think for me, I have a hard time with new games because I'll look at it on, the Steam store or whatever, and I'll stare at the add to cart button, and I'll know I don't have time for this. Like, I'm not going to play this. And Chris, this is exactly what happened with V Rising.
Oh my gosh.
Not so much with New World. New World, the game kind of let us down there.
Big time. But
it was just, I'll look at a game and I'll know I don't have time for it. That's why I don't really look at new games. That's why, even though I'm still playing through Breath of the Wild right now, I'm not even thinking about getting Tears of the Kingdom again until probably it's years later. Like, I just don't feel like I can commit that time right now.
Yeah, and the
I
game.
think it's kind of funny though, because like we brought up Tears of the Kingdom, I think in like a previous episode, or maybe we were all just talking, and it is one of those ones where the first thing I looked up, like when the game was released and there were like reviews out, I was looking up what is like the completion time, and I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but it was upwards of like 60, 70 hours, like easy. And like, that's like, if you just do like, if you're like really efficient, it's like 60 hours. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, it like, that sucks. Like, it sucks to like make a decision based on like the time, but like, I do not like playing games or starting TV shows, or anything really. And then like a day or two I play it, and then I have like a week lull where there's just interruptions or, whatever, real life things take over, which, is to be expected. But, I don't like to do that. So I almost like entirely steer away from it, just so I don't have to kind of like, go through that process. Because inevitably I'll pick it up, I'll get distracted, and then I'll just not pick it up again. Not because it's bad, but just because that's how I am. So
That's
it kind of sucks to, to be that way.
Yeah, I've specifically said no when my sister asks me, there's this new show streaming on, whatever. Like, do you want to watch this together? I just have to say no, because I can't commit the kind of time. I feel like I don't have the energy to just sit on the couch and, watch a TV show and then also talk to my sister about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's also that sense of FOMO too. Like you start a new game, like you get a new game, one of these story-driven games that are coming out, and then, like Chris said, you get distracted, or like things in life come up, and like a week or two goes by, and you're like, I haven't touched this game in a couple weeks, and then all of a sudden there's like this hype around this new game coming out, like, oh, like there's this other game that looks pretty good, and now I want to play that, and then like the one you were playing before like gets kind of left in the dust. You're like, I feel like I got to finish that game first. And it's the same thing with TV. Like I feel like every week there's a new show that everyone's talking about. I'm like, God damn, how many shows are there? Like, how many new shows are coming out that are bangers apparently? And like I've compiled a list. Like I literally have a list on my phone of like movies, shows to watch, and I'm like, I've checked a couple off. The shows are definitely one more difficult, obviously, because they're hour-long shows, like several seasons long. Like I want to watch Better Call Saul because I'm a huge Breaking Bad fan, but I've got to just like I just got to sit down and watch one episode really, and I think that could get me kickstarted. But just getting down to do that, to watch that one episode, it's tough to like split your time up. It's just like, what do I want to do? Do I want to play? Do I want to play this? Do I want to watch this? Or do I want to go out and do something entirely different?
Or sleep.
Or sleep.
I like that option.
I feel like that's always
frequently the option that I choose. Yeah, for me, that list only ever grows. Maybe, once in a blue moon, I'll check something off my TV show or movie to watch list. But if anything, it only ever grows.
But then it feels like a chore. It's like a shopping list. Like, like these are things these should be fun things you want to do.
And when you have like that ever growing backlog, regardless of what it is, movies, TV, games, like you miss the hype period, right? Yeah. So you're like always kind of behind the curve, which is not necessarily bad, but like you said, there's a little bit of like FOMO involved there, and you can't kind of be a part of the conversations as much. But I'm always impressed. Actually, I don't know if impressed is the right word. Sometimes pissed.
That's completely different.
Yeah. I change my stance there. I get. It's kind of annoying. Like in a game, for example, like, okay, this is the most relevant one I can, talk about right now, but like Diablo. So I'm loving Diablo 4. It's my first Diablo game. So I don't know all the systems, super well, but it's one of those games where it absolutely rewards, like most RPGs and whatnot, grind time, right? So the more you play, obviously, the further along you are and whatever. And it's like, you know, the game comes out and then like 3 days later, all these reviews and people are max level and they're already talking about end game content. And like, here I am, like, you know, this is like 3 weeks into the release and I'm like level 30 something. And it's just because I can just barely chip away at it. And it's like, it's so frustrating because like those kinds of games, you want to keep up with your friends so that you can play the end game stuff together, like whatever, the raids, the dungeons, whatever it might be. But it's like, I always get left in the dust. It's not anybody else's fault. It's just, I simply don't have the time. And then when I do, I'm like, you know, then it's like that vicious cycle. I'm so far behind now. It's like, I don't even know if I even want to.
Right.
Right. Not with Diablo. I still want to play Diablo, but that's happened in a lot of games before. Derick, I know when we were playing V Rising, that like your intent was to play. So here's a funny story.
I'm ready for it.
So me and Derick and a mutual friend, we get this game V Rising. It was kind of like a flash in the pan. It was a really great game, but at least amongst like our circle of people, I don't think it didn't stick around too long. So Derick got it with us like all at the same time, and you load into a server and your physical character like spawns in. Well, Derick's character was like literally spawned in like a tree.
Poor girl.
For like 4 weeks, for like a month. And we would just go by his character because you're like permanently in the instant.
Yeah. So I got the game and I'm like, all right, where are you guys? I met up with them. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna hide in this bush. I'm gonna log off, and then when I log on, I'll know where I am. Never once did I log back on.
Oh no, it's so sad.
So my chick was just squatting in a bush somewhere.
I was walking by this bush every time.
And we didn't put a ton of hours. I say like in total, I put probably like 40 hours into the game. But I mean, it's every time we walk by, because he spawned close to our base. So we're just constantly walking by his character. And I don't know, it was just like that story to me is like very representative of like this whole topic. It's just like the intent was there. I knew you wanted to play with us, but like, just like stuff comes up and it was just kind of funny to just see your dude just standing there. And then again, you got so far behind, so to speak, that like you kind of just said, screw it. Like, I don't even want to anymore.
Yeah. You know? And that's almost what happened with New World right before that too. Right. We all just kind of put in differing amounts of time in it. And then suddenly like my herbalism skill is completely maxed out because I didn't want to, you know, level up my character way further or anything like that. But then, you know, some people are just in end game content. I'm like, I don't know what's happening right now. And
I always feel like I'm the dead weight. Like I always feel like I'm the one that like my friends, whether it's you guys or other people, have to like help me like power level. You know what I mean? Like they basically have to like pull me along and like not boost, but you know what I mean. I always feel like that one.
Remember when I tried playing Destiny 2 with you guys? And like, I don't know whatever happened to my download version of that game. Like there were some technical issues on my end I never figured out. But basically I would load in the game and I was like starting level. Like I was like a low, way too low of a level for the section of the game that we were supposed to be playing. And like, I don't know what happened, but supposedly I was supposed to be at a level where I could actually help.
Yeah.
I could help the cause and actually shoot things, but I would shoot things and it would just be like the hit markers would be question marks. Like I wasn't even doing damage to these things.
Yeah,
I was just trying to run around and distract them.
That was a weird situation where you you bought the DLC because we were playing an expansion and it was supposed to bring you up like to a certain level just by purchasing because that's kind of like that was like the threshold for playing that content, and it didn't do that, but it still let you like physically enter those instances. And so like we were literally like you were like the biggest dead weight I've ever. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I literally did nothing. I did nothing. I gave one tapped.
I think after like one or two, I don't know. I think we did a couple like strikes, and like we basically gave you all the gear, and I think you got your level up, and then by that point we were on to something else, and that's the problem too. Is like I don't have enough time to be as like crazy as I am, where it's like I get to one game and then I'm like immediately to another game. Like I don't know. I miss the days of like feeling like I had the time and the ambition to like really just dive into a game for like 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of that was, especially back in the day, was like a lot of our friends played, and it was kind of like a competition within the group. Like who's the highest rank, whose KD is the best. Like I know,
Yeah.
I remember Pandemic Warzone. Like that was a bit like we always were sharing our KDs with each other. Like the leaderboard, the in-game leaderboard. I was always seeing where I was compared to you guys. And then like, and kind of piggybacking off that, like you go into like, say if you're trying to play like ranked games with somebody, and like the game, like if it's a new game especially, or like a new season and the ranks reset, and just on that particular day, like your friends are grinding, but you're like, oh, I can't play that day. And then the next day you're like, oh, I can play, and then you're like, oh, well, you can't play with us because you're too low ranked. And you're like, oh, well, screw me then. I guess I'll just play solo and be miserable.
I think double piggybacking off of that, I think
Ooh,
what
double
really
piggyback.
messed up my current free time was the pandemic. Follow my logic here. So pandemic hit, we're all, trapped inside for however long that was.
Forever.
And all you had was free time, basically. Right? So at least for me, that first couple months was like, all right, well, the world is my my apartment is my oyster. So I can do whatever I want with my free time. So I was, playing music, I was playing video games, I was learning different things. And, over time, restrictions kind of got lifted, and now, it's today, 2023. And I think that on the inside, I feel like I could have spent the pandemic time better. Like I could have spent it doing more things that I liked more often, more successfully. And I think that's what's messing me up now. I think that when I have a chunk of free time, my brain says, you better spend this time well. Like you don't want to just play some, shitty CSGO match and rage quit. Like you want something that'll make you feel good, like something you like doing. So for me, it's tough to kind of balance all that out.
That's super interesting. So you're almost like you kind of, I don't know, you like cherish your free time like even more, but it almost seems like you look at free time as like still trying to be productive in some way, which is kind of interesting. And I think that's like, maybe that's just something that starts to happen, or maybe that's kind of with the pandemic, but I've experienced that a little bit too. Like even when I started like streaming a little bit, like it almost was taking like a hobby and like a passion and like starting to try to make some more of it than maybe what it had been like, prior to that. Cause I think the pandemic showed us all that like you really can take things you enjoy, like this podcast, like streaming, whatever, like, YouTube content, TikTok, whatever it is. And you can like actually turn it into something. And I think that kind of subconsciously though sort of puts pressure on like everything you're doing. Like, how can I be using this? Right. Like I remember when I was gaming, like while I was still streaming a bit more, and I'd be like, I'm playing off stream. Like I should be streaming this, or I need to play off stream to like unlock this to do on stream or something that
for content. Yeah.
So I sort of see what you mean. Is it's almost kind of made like where you can't turn your brain off, and and subconsciously too, I still like always go back to those days like in school, like grad school, where it's like if you had free time, you're like asking yourself like, is there something I'm supposed to be doing right now? You know that feeling? Right?
Yeah I don't know. I mean, we all work hard, and I feel like free time should be just that, like free time. And, everyone, you're entitled to spend that however you want to spend it, whether it's, creating something or doing absolutely nothing. And, I mean, personally, like I see where, I see where Derick's coming from. But I also like I never got that feeling like that. I guess I don't know if it's guilt or whatever. Like sometimes I do, but more times than not, I'm like, you know what? Like I've earned this time to myself to choose what I want to do. And yeah, I mean, I really have no problem like just sitting on my couch and like turning my brain off for a while. But then there's also times where like maybe like obviously too much of that is going to get to you, and that was kind of what happened, during the pandemic, and which is why it was like a godsend for me to like find disc golf or like I mean, or just another outlet, especially during the pandemic where going outside, like you couldn't really do much outside of your apartment or house. Like get disc golf was accessible. Courses were open, and it was a great way to get outside, get some exercise in. So, I really like if I didn't have that, I have no idea what my mental would be like at the moment. I really don't. Like if I was if I had nothing else to do but just like grind Apex ranked for however many hours a day, I would have gone insane.
Sounds so unpleasurable.
It does, and like some people like that grind, but like I mean I sometimes do, but I would rather just play just like pub matches. I don't want I have to be in a mood to grind ranked. So it's day to day, especially when it comes to gaming for me at least.
So what I was thinking is, I'm curious to hear from both of you because I don't work from home, and I know Derick, you work the whole week at home, right?
Yep.
And then Ryan, I know that you kind of do like a hybrid vibe, which is like pretty commonplace now. But so I never experienced the work from home vibe. How does that impact like how does your free time at home feel, and also like does it sort of shape like what you choose to do activity wise with your free time, since you're like, you know what I mean, like you're already home and you've been home all day? Like I think it would be a little hard for me to work up from my computer for let's just say 8 hours and then like just log into a game, you know what I mean, like at 5 o'clock, and then you know what I mean. So like kind of tell me what you guys like, how does that work for you?
Yeah, so in the early days of the pandemic, I was very good at making sure that I had very specific spaces for everything. So I have an old desk that's, just out of frame behind me here. And that was my work desk. Like everything related to work at that desk. Then as soon as, 4:30 hit, I would log off and I could turn to this desk, which was my fun desk. Like I can make music here, I can play video games here, whatever. So for me, it was having clear lines of this is work and this isn't work. But over time, those lines kind of blurred a little bit, which, Ryan, you know this, I got a projector for my living room.
Oh, yeah.
Because I realized I was just spending most of my day in this room. And I wasn't watching TV, and I was falling behind, like you guys were saying, on like a ton of TV shows and movies that were streaming. So I got a projector specifically to force me to use the room that I have at my disposal. And that's been great for me so far.
Dude, that projector is sick.
Yeah, I'm very happy with it.
That's really interesting. I don't think I've ever thought of that, like physical boundaries to like kind of tell yourself, because I do think like part of this discussion, right, the sort of concept behind it is it's a little bit of like mental health. It's a little bit of like being able to kind of like compartmentalize and separate, work from, your personal real life. So that definitely gets blurred with the work from home, despite the obvious advantages to that scenario. So that's actually really interesting. I never kind of thought of things that way. Yeah.
Yeah, my experience is kind of similar, but so I don't have like my apartment's pretty like it's an open apartment, like there's not really rooms per se besides like the bathroom and the bedroom. So I'm basically just, at my desk in like, I don't know, dining room area, whatever you want to call it, next to the next to the kitchen. But definitely on work from home days. So right now I'm work from home Friday and Monday, and then in the office Tuesday through Thursday, which I love that schedule because I get the best of both worlds. Like I'm not that type of person. It's like, oh, I need the human interaction being in the office. Like if I had a choice, I would rather be fully remote. I just feel like I'm oddly more productive at home. Um, but if I'm at home, like if it's a Friday and I'm working from home all day, like I don't necessarily like nor want to just like close my laptop and then turn on my Xbox and then just stay in the same seat. I feel so lazy like that. That's when the guilt kind of seeps in a little bit for me. Is like, damn, you lazy bastard. You just sat here, even though you're working, like you're doing your job, but you sat on your ass for the last 8 hours. If I'm working from home and I have my lunch break, I should probably go for a walk or something, but I'm just like going to my room and like taking a nap for the most part, or I'm playing a game for an hour between, on my lunch break. So definitely like especially if it's a nice day outside and I'm like the sun is coming through the window all day, I'm like, I should go out there and enjoy that. So, typically, as soon as work's done, I'm like, I got to get out of the house. I got to get out of the apartment. I got to do something, whether it's go to the gym, disc golf, pickleball, whatever. Or even if it's just like going grocery shopping or just like even like going to the bar or just something that's not here. And the same thing for Mondays too.
Yeah,
more so
that makes a lot of sense. I would say that I'm like the complete opposite of that. And I think for me, it starts with the fact that like I have a very limited like social battery, and my particular like line of work requires a lot of like, human to human interaction throughout the whole day. So like by the end of the day, like you guys are saying you're looking for like a way out from like the desk and the screen, and I'm like the opposite. I'm looking for a way in, right? I'm like, at what time can I sit down in front of my computer and like do whatever it is I wanted to do, tune out or whatever. And I do find that there's like a social component to it, because like by that point, like I kind of just want to like not have to really talk. And it's like it affects kind of the games I'm playing. Like I used to not like to just game by myself, but like there's like such a like that 10 o'clock at night to like kind of like midnight, 1 a.m. sometimes, where I'm like, yo, like it wouldn't be so bad right now to like fire up some Diablo or whatever and just like put on some music and just kind of like click, 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 and just kind of vibe. And I'm always sort of looking for that time of the day. And it doesn't have to be like 4 hours. It could be like an hour or two where I can just kind of like my escape. So I think that's interesting. Like everyone's got their own like version of an escape. And it's like, for you guys, it's getting away from the desk. And for me, it's like, how do I get to my desk?
Now I'm in the office, it's the opposite. Like if I'm in, well, not necessarily the opposite, but if I'm in the office, I feel like I'm doing the same thing. Like I'm sitting down all day at my computer, but like I actually went somewhere to do that this time when I'm in the office. So I feel less guilty about just coming home and then, hopping on the Xbox to play. I feel like I actually did something. I worked, but I feel like I actually went out and was social, even though I'm really not. Like my office is a little strange. Like used to be a little more, I guess, talkative, but now like we've lost some people and whatnot. So we're basically just like popping our headphones in for most of the day. I have my one coworker who sits next to me, who's like a huge nerd, like big movie, TV show guy, and we just talk about like Star Wars or Marvel all day. So I get when he's there, I get my human interaction, like my and talk sports and stuff too. So I get my conversation through that. When I worked retail though, like I get what you said, what you say, Chris, like when you're talking to people all day at work, it's like the last thing you want to do is
Yeah.
come home and talk to more people again. So
Yeah.
like turning the brain off and just like playing Diablo or whatever. Like I completely understand that.
Yeah.
Or I've even found that like when you and I, Ryan, when we play MLB, like for me, that's sort of like a way of blowing off steam like after work, because it's like
Hitting
I don't
dingers
know,
with Matt
like,
Olson.
Yeah, just hitting nukes,
Or
but no,
Harper.
like getting to sort of like almost hyper focus on a game like that. Like it's weird. There's times where I don't want to focus on the game at all. I just want to tune out. But then there's times where I sort of want to just be like so competitive and like immersed, where it's like I'm not thinking about anything else. And that's always been a good way for me to decompress. But it's like kind of ironic. It's like the more you need to decompress, right? The busier you are like at work or with life, the less time you have to decompress.
Yeah.
So I've always found that to be kind of tough.
Yeah, it is interesting that, you know, there are different games for different situations, right?
Oh,
I mean, I
yeah.
took some notes here on some of the different games that I play, and, you know, kind of the decision tree leading me down to like, what am I going to play today? Right. So if I talk about F1, that's like, I don't know, 60-ish minutes if I want to do one race. And that's almost full focus the entire time.
Yeah.
So I really need to make that mental commitment if I know that I want to play, you know, a single player race. Then again, if I'm playing with 4 of my buddies that play, then it's, you know, maybe 20, 30 minutes per race. And it's kind of low stakes. We're all just kind of shooting the breeze anyway. So that's way lower effort. But
Yeah.
the sacrifice I make there is we do play a little bit later. So I'm sacrificing sleep in order to, you know, play a game that I already like playing. Like it's different situations call for different games.
I know you love your sleep. Quick question. Here's a general question for you guys. Like, what's the minimum number of hours of sleep you think you need to like actually function the next day?
I thought you were going to steal my question. I had something and it was
Oh.
literally starting just the way you did. But okay, go ahead. Derick, you can answer first and I'll chime in.
I think I can get by the next day on fewer than 5. I can't do multiple nights like that. Like I will be alive the next day if I sleep 5 hours, but I'm really aiming for 7.
I'm a little surprised by that because I feel like you always get to bed nice and, you know, I guess early-ish. But
yeah,
like early
I get
for me.
to bed, yeah.
But you don't fall asleep.
That's a good point. It's a good point. You're in bed but not sleeping.
Yeah, I'm a morning person anyway. I'm most productive in the morning, so I like waking up early and doing things.
See, I want to be that way, but I find it hard. Eventually, maybe when I get older.
No, I think I agree more or less with Derick there. I can do 4. Listen, so like in high school and college, I worked at a bagel shop, and there were often times, Ryan knows this, there were often times, because I'd have to be in at 6, and there would be a lot of times where like I would just stay up the whole time, like the whole night. And you feel great actually going into work like that, like because you're on pure adrenaline, but like you get to a point like halfway through a shift where it just hits and you crash, right? And I think in jobs like that, you can kind of get away with that, but like obviously, you know, in more career-oriented positions, you can't really do stuff like that. So for me, I do try to balance, but I've almost done this funky thing where like there's like a revenge against like my time that I spend at work, where I'm like, you know what, I'm taking it back tonight. I'm staying up till 2. And then I obviously screw myself the next day. But to answer your question, I think 4 is probably like the minimum there. Ideally for me, it's like 6 to 7. There's probably never a time that I get 8. And if I get more than 8, I actually don't feel great. I'm one of those people where like too much sleep makes me feel worse.
Yeah, I'll get a headache if I sleep too much.
Dude, oversleeping's a thing. Oversleeping's a thing. Yeah, personally, I'm around the same, like 6. I think 6 is my sweet spot. But I mean, I find it difficult to fall asleep before midnight these days, unless I just had a really long day or I'm sick or something. But other than that, you know, I kind of feel the same way Chris does, where like I want to like savor the time I have, even if it means staying up a little later. And the funny thing is like I could just be I could just be watching YouTube. Like I'm not really doing anything. Like even like I would say even playing a video game is more productive than just watching a YouTube video on like someone eating food or something, which is something I do too much.
Get the mukbangs in. Late mukbangs.
That's what they're called, right? That's like, is that the genre?
I hate that word.
That is a strange word. I don't like it.
I do not
either.
like that word.
Muck, good. Bang, good.
Wait, so I had a question, and it started out just the way Ryan posed his question. I was like, is he taking that? So what is the minimum amount of free time that you can have that you'll say, okay, I will actually game? For example, right? Like if I have 45 minutes that I can, like, that I'm going to be free, I'm not gaming, right? For me, it's got to be like an hour and a half to 2 hours of free time to like say, okay, I'm going to jump on and play whatever. Because I really like have never been the one where I'm like, oh, 30 minutes here, 45 minutes, like before school or before work or whatever, like I'll get a game of this in. Like I've never been able to do that. So what's your kind of like minimum time there?
Yeah, that's not me either. Depending on the game, it can be as little as an hour. Like if I want to hop into some Rocket League before something starts, like I can do that for an hour. But generally, it'll be an hour and a half to 2 hours, like you said. If I see that, open slot of time for 2 hours, I think that's a good time window. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, no, I'm weird. Like I will, like the other day I got home from work. Pickleball starts at like 5. I get home from work like a little after 4:35. I live really close to the office. So I'm like, you know what? I just feel like hopping on and getting a game of Halo in. So I literally and I had like 20 minutes. I hopped and I was like, a game of Halo takes like 8 to 12 minutes depending on what mode you're playing. So I hopped on and I played like a game and a half. I quit in the middle of the one game. Like I got to go. But it really depends. Like I'll take whatever time I can get. Like I mean, ideally, if I have like an hour, that would be like ideal. But I mean, I'll do it like a half hour, 20 minutes, even if I can get just like 1 or 2 games in, and I know I can accomplish that. Then, if I'm craving it, then I'll do it. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I can't.
Is that
I just
psychotic?
can't do that. No. A lot of people can do that. I just find like, for me, I have to have that like ability to know that like if I get like super locked in or like invested, that I can just continue.
Mm-hmm.
And I just tend to be sort of like the binge gamer, or even like shows. I've always hated watching, like ever since it became like streaming. We've gotten the ability to binge watch shows. I really don't like to just do one and done. Like The Last of Us like killed me every week. Great episode, and then I'm like, okay, this was just a tease. This was like an hour, and now I just like, okay, now what do I do? You know what I mean? So yeah, for me, I can't do those little short increments. And also, like, what the hell? You're like the shittiest teammate. You're gonna start a match that you can't finish and quit in the middle.
Listen, it's like a game. It's a social game. It's not ranked or anything. And they get bots when I quit, which the bot may be better than me anyway. So
definitely not. Though. You're cracked at Halo.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's something that I've actually. My behavior's changed over the last maybe year or so. It must have been January of 2022. Ryan got me into anime. And
You're still working on me.
Yeah, I think he tried chipping you down in one of our episodes. Actually,
yeah, we're doing an anime episode where Chris watches an anime and we talk about it.
I mean, I'm down, but ever since then, now my way to work through like TV shows or movies, mainly anime, like Avatar: The Last Airbender, I just worked through, is every time I eat, I'll just put an episode on.
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes I won't even finish an episode, or, maybe it's an episode and a half, and I'll just have to put it down halfway through. And I never thought that I'd be that kind of person, but that's what I do every day, every time I eat. So I just started the Studio Ghibli movies.
Nice.
Yeah,
I have to watch.
I'm
a lot.
going
I've
through
seen
them
a couple.
chronologically,
That's awesome.
and I am halfway through Nausica of the Valley of the Wind, and it's just because I'm eating breakfast, popping it on for 15 minutes. I'm eating lunch, popping it in for another 40. Like it's interesting.
That is interesting. I kind
There's
of like that though.
Got to be like some kind of conditioning happening there, though. Like,
Oh, yeah,
you know
there
the,
is.
you know the, what is it? It's the Office episode with the mint, right? Yeah. So Jim pulls out he's like, want a mint? And then like, remember? And then eventually at the end, like he just starts like reaching out for it. Like basically Derick like associates anime with food. So I think if you take Derick out of that context and like make him watch anime, he's probably going to start salivating.
Yeah. I do end up like snacking late at night if I'm just watching like on the couch. I'm like, all right, well, might as well grab some of these from the cabinet.
It makes sense. I don't know if it's healthy, but it makes sense.
No, dude.
It's working so far.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. Like I can't remember the last time I ate like a meal and didn't have something like I'm not watching something. Like I can't like probably I guess the last time that happened was when I was like living at home still. Like we'd have the family dinner, but even with the family dinner, like the TV would be on in the dining room, like in the other room. Like I could still see it. So I don't know. I just feel like I can't eat in silence. Like I got to put something on. Like I what was it? Like 2 weeks ago, I watched half of the first Pitch Perfects, and then just turn it off, and then watch the second half. The next day. So I kind of did what Derick did.
Dude, I remember this because I literally was like texting Ryan to play. I guess it was MLB. And he's
yeah.
like, I can't. He's like, I want to watch Pitch Perfect. And I said, what?
Well,
First
dude,
of all,
the bell
like,
is crushing right now.
Yeah,
It's
but
a
like
banger.
not. Well, you've seen it, right? You've seen it like a million times, right?
Well, I've seen it. Like handful.
He was like, yeah,
I feel
it's
like
been
you're
a while.
downplaying that one, man.
No. He said, he's like, it's been a while, and I want to watch the cups scene.
Dude, the cup scene's great. It shaped a generation.
I hit you up to play MLB, and you say, no, I want to watch the cup scene.
Dude, priorities. Have you watched the cup scene?
Yeah, and I also whatever. I don't care about Pitch Perfect, but I just think that was funny, and I don't know how the hell it made its way into our podcast. Like this shit, it just keeps coming after me.
Dude, you
This
should
Pitch
just
Perfect thing.
compile all the texts that I send you and just read them each episode. Just like
No, you know what I need to compile is all the texts that you send me that like drive me up a wall.
which is everything I say.
No, it's just like he just does some like off shit. Anyway, well, we can make an episode about all of Ryan's texts.
Dude, there's a voicemail you left me like last year, and I still have it on my phone because it was just really funny, and I forget what
was
it was.
it like?
It
Answer
was-
your phone.
Yeah, it was like answer your phone, you dummy, or you didn't want whatever. Like I
Wow,
want to
knee slapper.
play MLB or something.
No, you know what it is though. That's what it is. He always acts like he's too cool. Because I'll call him like the Eagles will be playing, and I'll call him. I'm like, I know you're watching the game, and then he won't answer my call, and he'll text me like at the bar. Like, okay.
Listen, man, I'm not
Watching the cup scene again.
Yeah.
Got to
Yeah,
get
that
my,
should be your
my daily
voicemail is
fix.
basically like, sorry, hey, this is Ryan. Sorry, can't get to the phone. Watching the cup scene for the 1 millionth time.
Yeah, I might. That's a good idea, actually. I need
No
a new
shame. You
voicemail.
would do that too.
But
No,
that does
not at
kind of
all.
tie into what we've been talking about is like, everyone's schedule's so screwed up and like you can't get on the same page. And I find like it's harder now than ever to game with friends or do anything with friends for that matter. I mean, Ryan said like, back in the day in high school, there was like so much FOMO over like, oh my God, like he's a level 60 in COD and I'm like a 15 and like whatever. And like we were all just competing to play with one another. Now it's like the opposite. You can't, like I couldn't pay somebody to like, hop on at like 10:30 on a Wednesday to play like whatever.
Well, MLB, you and me.
Yeah, I got you
After
until,
the pod.
until Pitch Perfect comes on.
Yeah, well, listen, I reset until next month, so next month it'll be my time to watch it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Suffice
overall,
to say, things are way different now than they used to be.
Yeah, and that's kind of what sucks, and I think it's so like weird that like as you get older and you know your career pans out or whatever, like you become financially stable, you can finally buy all the things you wanted as a kid, right? But now you just have none of the time to do any of that. It's like such a tease. When I was a kid, I had all the time in the world to game, but it's like you know, whatever. You're limited by what, you know, your parents may or may not buy you. And it's like now I could buy all the games I want, but it just makes me more sad to buy them because I just know I'm gonna sit in my Steam library or whatever.
Yeah,
well, you know,
I call it the graveyard. That's where games go to die.
That's so sad.
It is sad.
Dude, poor Red Dead. Poor Red Dead's sitting in my living room somewhere. Just like I think it's still in the Xbox, like my old Xbox.
Like the disc.
It might. Yeah, it might be actually. I'd have to look.
This is not a time problem. This is a you problem. You left the game like to die in your old Xbox, and
which is in your trunk.
Yeah. No, not the 360. My Xbox One, which is now like my Blu-ray player.
Now that's a game I did not finish myself, but you got to put more than 3 hours into it.
I know.
Didn't it win Game of the Year when it came out, like in 2018 or whatever?
It probably did. It probably did. Listen, I feel like I have all the time in the world. Like I'll be in my 50s or 60s and like going back and playing all the games I wanted to play. I'm gonna have like a rebirth or something, and I'm gonna be like. Here's
the problem: is you can't say that you've only played Red Dead for 3 hours when you're watching Pitch Perfect like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 like on repeat.
I did watch the second one for the first time after seeing the first one again. It was on AMC and I checked it out. I recorded it.
I didn't even know there was a second one.
There's 3.
I didn't know there was a third one.
It's a trilogy.
It's a trilogy.
It's an Acca trilogy.
Okay. All right.
I am.
That is absolutely the title of our episode. It's an Acca trilogy.
It's an Acca trilogy.
Dude, I swear we can always count on him for the titles.
Yeah.
Dude, that's why I'm here.
He's gonna have like one random ass line every episode, but
that's
my job. Inevitable.
Any other points? Did we miss anything? I feel like I vented. I needed to get this kind of off my. This was like the very cathartic, excuse me, discussion.
Yeah, I feel pretty validated in this. Because, I mean, it's rough to feel like you need to succeed in spending your free time.
Yeah.
And just talking about it makes me feel better about it.
Yeah, and I absolutely kind of agree with that. But I've sort of learned, I guess, to adopt Ryan's philosophy. And I try not to feel guilty. That's why, like, when I do things like from 10 o'clock on, right, everybody's asleep, I don't feel guilty at all. I do feel guilty, I will say, like, during the day, like on the weekends, like if it's a Saturday or Sunday and it's like midday and I'm like, spend 3 hours gaming. I definitely have a lot of guilt when I do that because I feel like there are absolutely things that I need to get done around the house or whatever. But you kind of have to balance, right? And we work hard and you should be able to enjoy your time. I mean, that's kind of why we work, right? So it's,
I find it impressive. I find it impressive you even play as much as you do with everything going on.
Yeah, I try, but that's why, like you guys see, like what was it like today? I didn't get to post anything, or I did, but it was like 3 o'clock when I did. And it's like, I blink in my days, like, it's 5 p.m. So I'm always running around like kind of like a chicken without its head. But
yay, adulthood.
Yeah, much like our free time when we were much younger men. Our free time would say, when I'm gone, you're going to miss me when I'm gone. I hope you miss us when we're gone. Week to week, that is. But luckily for you, you can follow us on Instagram or Twitter. We are at 5 o'clock sweats. We are here on YouTube or here on Spotify, depending on where you're listening to us. Anything else I'm forgetting, boys?
No. Episodes drop every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And keep checking back, you know?
Oh, yeah, there is one more thing I want to mention. We are up on Pocket Casts as well. We are now indexed on there. If there are other podcasting platforms that you use, please let us know, and we will work on getting indexed there as well.
Yep, very good.
Be sure to, if you haven't seen Pitch Perfect, I highly recommend it. Music's incredible.
You're gonna make me want to watch it, man.
If the last scene doesn't, if you watch the whole movie and don't get goosebumps during the last scene, you are a psychopath. You have no feelings, no soul.
Settle down.
I was thinking about it now. I'm getting the goosies. I'm getting the goosies. All right, that's all I have.
I've never heard somebody call them the Goosies before.
No.
Listen, that's all you get. Original content from me.
All right. What is our closer? Have we decided on a closer?
Well, I like the pointing at the camera. And then
it's hard to sync that up, isn't it?
Editing magic.
I don't. I think you have way more faith in me than maybe you should.
Yeah. It's okay. Well, how about this? Like on the count of 3, we point and we say "get sweaty," or "stay sweaty." Stay sweaty. Stay sweaty.
Yes, exactly.
Right? All right. So I'll do the countdown, and on 3, point at the camera and say "stay sweaty." 1, 2, 3. Stay sweaty.
Stay sweaty.
Damn it. Close enough.
Derick was slow as hell.
That was Akka close enough, okay? Editing magic.
He was like a full 5 seconds behind.
In my ears, I was right with you.
Should we try it one more time?
Sure, go for it. Count it down.
So on 3, we point at the camera and we say, "Stay sweaty." 1, 2, 3. Stay sweaty.
Stay sweaty.
All right, we'll get it one day.
You're counting so slow.
Well,
You're
he's
like 1.
And then look, he's like
2.
1, 2, like
3. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
So it's not on
All right,
3, it's
fine.
after 3. It's 1, 2, 3. Stay sweaty.
Stay sweaty. That's the one.
All right.
Don't say on 3, because then I'm like, then it's really just 2.
True. Okay, I'm the problem. I get it. I'm the problem.
Yeah.
You just say I'm the problem. Okay, cool. All right,
You're
so
the problem.
I'll count a little faster this time, since I'm too
And
slow.
it's
apparently.
after the 3.
After the 3. All right. 1, 2, 3.
Stay
sweaty. All right. That was good. Good job, boys.
Great success.
We did it.
Very nice.
My life.